Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this video. Today is the simple present. This is a review of the simple present. We will discuss how to form the affirmative, the negative, and also the yes/no question form. First, we have to know when to use the simple present. There are three main reasons we use the simple present in English. One of these reasons is for habits, facts, and finally preferences. Let's start with facts. Facts are things that do not change or are always true. So here I'll give you an example of a fact and also analyze how the simple present is formed. So let's start here with the subject. You always need the subject, I, and then a fact. I am a teacher. So I is my subject, am is my verb. It's the verb to be. And you see, with the simple present, the verb is in the base form. And finally, we finish with the complement of the sentence. So the form subject, verb to complement, and the verb is in the base form. Now the sentence I am a teacher, yes, I am a teacher, it does not change. This is a fact that Mr. Bedard is a teacher. So when we talk about a fact or something that does not change, something that is always true, it's the simple present. Another example of a fact: babies drink milk. Subject, sorry, let me change colors here. Subject, verb in the base form, and complement. It's a fact because most babies drink milk, and this is not going to change anytime soon. Now habits. Habits are actions that we repeat every day, every week, every month, every year. And when talking about habits, then we need to use the simple present. Here's an example. We go to school every day. We is my subject. Go is my verb in the base form. Remember the base form. And then where do I go to school? So this is my complement. And every day here, this tells me that I'm talking about a habit because this is something I repeat every day of the week. Another example here: they run together in the morning. Again, subject, verb, and the complement. And although in the morning does not show a repeated action, because the sentence is written in the simple present, the reader has to assume that the subject they, so the two people or the group of people running together, the action of running together is at least something that they repeat once in a while. Finally, preferences. Preferences, as the title suggests, are things that you like or don't like, or things that you hate or love. So here, I like dogs. The subject, I, verb, complement. I am talking about the preference of mine, so I use the simple present. You love your mother. Again, same thing. Subject, verb, and complement. And again, this shows a preference. Now let's have a look at the negative form of the simple present. Remember the form. Remember the structure of the sentence. Subject, verb in the base form, and complement. What you need to form the negative now with that sentence, you travel by car, is an auxiliary, do, plus not. That shows the negativity of the new sentence. And we add the do and the not between the subject and the verb. So the sentence in the negative becomes, you do not travel by car. Of course, you can use a contracted form. So the contracted form of do not is don't. You don't travel by car. Here's another example. Students work hard. So here you decide for yourself if this is a fact or not. I'll assume that students work hard, this is a fact. So subject, verb, complement. We want to switch that sentence into the negative. So we need the same subject, students. Then we need the auxiliary do plus the negative. Then the verb, of course. And we finish with the complement. Students do not work hard. So this structure of the negative works for all verbs in English. All verbs except one. There's only one exception to that rule. And the exception is the verb to be. So I'll give you a quick example. I am a teacher. So subject, verb to be, and the complement. All we need with the verb to be, we don't need an auxiliary. All we need now is of course the subject. We repeat the verb and we simply add not to it. So I am not a teacher. Remember, the verb to be is the only exception. Yes, no questions now. They study in the evening. Here we have verb and complement. This is an affirmative sentence. We want to transform the sentence into a question. The procedure is quite simple. Do you remember the auxiliary we used for the negative? The auxiliary do? Well, all we have to do to form a question is to add the auxiliary do at the beginning of our sentence. Do they study in the evening? And don't forget question mark. This is a question you can only answer by yes or no. If you do want to create a question, a question that has more meaning, you can add a question word at the beginning of your sentence, keeping the same structure. Let's say you want to know where. You want to know about the location. So you can add a where, and you will keep the same the exact same structure as the yes/no question. Where do they study in the evening? Again, here our only exception is the verb to be. So I am a student. If you want to form a question with this, if you want to transform I am a student into a question, it's a little bit different. We don't need the auxiliary, and we are simply going to switch the position of the verb and the subject. We will bring the verb to be at the beginning of the sentence. So, am I a student? And you can only answer yes or no to this question. But again, if you wanted more meat around the question, then you could add a question word. For example, why, and complete with the same structure. Why am I a student? Now that's a good question. Why am I a student? Now you might want, just for fun, if you want, you can answer that question after this video on Edmodo. If you have time, answer the question, why are you a student? And share your answers with the class. This could become very interesting. You probably noticed in the video that I avoided the use of he, she, and it, the third person singular subjects. And the reason is simple, I wanted to keep them for the end. Remember one thing with he, she, and it, the third person singular in the simple present, it's S, the letter S. Try to make a connection in your head so you don't forget. Third person singular simple present, S. So with the third person singular in the simple present, your verb, so he like, I'll tell you later, he liked to swim. Now, with the subject I or you or they, you would say they like to swim or I like to swim. But the difference with he, she, or it, or a third person singular subject, is that you need this S when you conjugate the verb. He likes to swim. She drives her car. So you add S to the base form. As usual, there are exceptions. For example, verbs that end in a Y, so Y, and are preceded by a consonant. So here, R is a consonant. Then, at the third person singular, I will erase my Y and change an I and add to the verb IES. So cry. I cry, you cry, but he cries. Same thing for fly. We have a verb ending in Y preceded by a consonant. So he, she, it flies. There's also the verb to go. That becomes goes. And to form the negative and yes, no questions with the third person singular, your auxiliary will go from do to does. So if we want to transform he likes to swim, the negative will be he does not like to swim. And the question will be, does he like to swim? So I think this covers it. I hope this review will help you in conjugating your verbs in the simple present.